And based on Nielsen's 99-1 rule, in every online community, there's a 90% of blockers who are just there to observe what's going on. They don't participate. And there's a 9% of intermittent contributors who are in and out. They come in and out. And the 1% contributors who are very active participants within the community. So the Macmillan community now, they want to see how they can encourage more participation and onboarding in the community. And so to be able to achieve that, to be able to see how we can encourage more people to participate, there's a need to understand the motivations at the moment, why some of the users participate in the community. So to achieve this, this is how the data was collected: an online survey with the members of the community, and interview with the community managers, and data from the discussion threads of the forum. So I used the social cognitive theory, which states that there's a triadic and dynamic and reciprocal relationship between the personal factors, the user's behavior, and the environment. So standing at the core of user behavior generally is there are two factors: outcome expectations and self-efficacy. And these two are facets of the personal factors. The self-efficacy explains the user's trust in his abilities to achieve a certain task and to control his environment. And the outcome expectations are about the anticipation of the user to gain favorable outcomes when these tasks have been carried out. And then the environment in the context of this study is going to involve trust, the trust the user has for other members in the environment. The user's behavior is about how the user participates. Is he there to acquire information or to post information? But in this study, we're focusing on posting information because we're trying to see how users can participate more in the community. But the problem with the social cognitive theory is that it is limited in explaining the components that are in a social network. It doesn't really discuss the resources embedded within a social network. So I decided to use a social influence theory to support the social cognitive theory, because the social influence theory talks about the effects of social processes on the behavior of a user and the nature and the role of the social influence exerted by the community on its members. So social influence theory, which has been widely used in studying users' motivations to participate in an online community, consists of three social processes, which are compliance, identification, and internalization. So compliance, also known as subjective norm, is like individuals complying with the opinions of others, or like a perceived pressure from other members of the community on the user to make the user want to participate too. And then there's identification, which is like developing a sense of identity, like identifying with similar others and a sense of belonging within the community. And internalization, which talks about the user's congruence of his values with the values of other members of the community, also known as a group norm or we intention. So this is the framework for the study, and it shows here, this is the social cognitive aspect. This is a personal cognition, like I said, self-efficacy and the outcome expectations. And the outcome expectations have two facets too, which is the personal outcome expectations. That's the outcomes, the personal outcomes, the personal rewards the user intends to get from participating, and then the community-related outcome expectations, which is like the rewards for the community in general. For example, giving and receiving support, and then for personal outcome expectations can be like making friends, within the community. So what I'm trying to say here is that self-efficacy has an effect on the outcome expectations, and the outcome expectations have an effect on the knowledge-sharing behavior. Self-efficacy also has an effect on the knowledge-sharing behavior. The trust in the environment has an effect on self-efficacy. But I forgot to mention, extant studies have shown that in a social environment, especially an online environment, the compliance has no effect on the user's behavior because it's a voluntary participation is voluntary, and there's anonymity in the community, so there's really no need to comply by the rules of anyone. So for this study, we're only considering identification and internalization, and I'm saying that it has an effect on knowledge sharing and on trust. They both have effects on knowledge sharing and trust. So the findings of the study showed that trust, outcome expectations, internalization all have causal relationships with knowledge sharing. But self-efficacy had no relationship with knowledge sharing, even though studies have shown that self-efficacy is a strong underlying motivation for user behavior. Though I also came across a study that said this self-efficacy can be a predictor of behavior, but really has no claim to being a cause of behavior. And then the issue of participation and non-participation. While I was conducting the interviews with one of the managers, she said something like, the aim is not really to get everyone talking, participating, and the aim is not to have everyone talking within the community. They need some people to listen. As long as some people are deriving certain values from the community without actually talking, then a good part of their job is being done. Well, that doesn't mean there's still no need to increase the 1%, that 1% active contributors though. I did a multiple regression to consider the variables from the social cognitive theory on the effect of these variables on knowledge sharing and participation. And if you look here, they're just, in this model, in the first phase here, there are just 4 variables that have been considered. That's the outcome expectations, the trust, and the self-efficacy. And in the second aspect, I had included the identification and internalization to see the effect on the model. And the results show that identification and self-efficacy they had no relationship with knowledge sharing. Yeah. So the next phase of this study is going to involve the analysis of the interview data that has been collected. And the findings from here will aid in informing the next phase of the study. That's it. Thank you.